Hey guys, this is Christopher Parham, otherwise known as Ice Cube 57 on the Endless Sphere forum, and this is geared, of course, to the forum members. This is sort of like a public service announcement slash rant, and this was inspired by something that's going on with me right now. I'm testing batteries for a customer, and so I'm not one of the type of people that buys batteries from Hobby King and just take their word on it and go ahead and put them to use. I go ahead and test the batteries on my charger. I have a 406 duo charger, which I think is the best charger, the best bang for your buck for really aggressive charging in the USA. It can put out about 1400 watts if you know how to series and parallel your packs for charging and discharging. It's a really great charger. But what I also like about it is it has very aggressive discharging. It can discharge up to 100 or 120 watts internally, or you can use an external load bank. I have load resistors that I can use to discharge batteries, very quickly in a controlled manner. And then also have a 24 volt, 100 amp hour lead acid AGM battery bank that I can pull from and dump into to get these discharge tests done really quickly. So what I'm noticing is a lot of people are buying these multi-star batteries. Hobby King just ran a sale on 4S 20,000 uh, uh, 20 amp hour batteries or 20,000 milliamp hour batteries, however you want to call it. Some people are buying the 6S 20 amp hour batteries. These are huge fucking batteries. So, and there's a lot of capacity. You might not use it, so you might just go ahead and justify that, hey, I'm not going to use all the capacity, so I'm going to just, take take Hobby King's word for it and go ahead and use the packs. You know and the thing about these batteries is the nominal voltage that we receive the batteries is very misleading. It can be a very tight balance when we receive the pack, but I'm noticing a pattern. Once I charge these batteries up, there starts to be a drift. So when the pack is starting to charge, you'll have some of the cells staying really tight, and then you'll have this one rogue cell that's lagging behind the others. And so at the end of the discharge cycle is the balancing phase. So here it is, we have all the cells except for one sitting at 4.2, and then we have this last cell sitting at like 3.99, and it's like, all right, so these were tight when I first got them, and they were at nominal capacity, or not nominal capacity, but half discharge at 50% discharge, and now they're out of balance when it's charging. Like, I do have an aggressive charger, but this has seemed like some sorcery or witchcraft. And so either way, I'm charging these packs up and I'm letting them balance. Packs that should take 20 minutes to less than 20 minutes to charge from half capacity. I'm charging some 60C heavy duty batteries that are 5 amp hours, and I'm routinely putting about 2500 back into it, and I'm charging at about 3C, so charging about 15 some odd amps. So this should be going very quickly, but no, like I said, I'm hitting that phase where the pack should be charged, but the pack is out of balance a lot. And so what I'm seeing is almost anywhere from 3 to as high as 700 milliamps. 700 milliamp hours um, of the pack being out of balance. And so even with my charger, which each channel has 1.2 amps of balancing current, and if I combined it, I have 2.4. Still taking it a good while for it to pull that pack back into balance. And so the charger can do this fine. It can do this all day. So, and the end result is you have a balanced pack. Cool. That's what we wanted. And so we go to discharge the battery, and you're thinking that that cell that was low, that was lagging behind, you thinking that cell is going to be the weak cell in the pack. That's not the case. So what I'm seeing is, let's say cell number one was lagging on the charge cycle. You're thinking that's the cell that's going to lag behind. No, it may be cell 3 or cell 6 that ends up lagging behind, um, that ends up lagging behind the others to where you end up having a pack that's not giving capacity. So you're looking at the discharge curve. Cell number one is 5, cell number 3 or cell number 6 or whatever other cell is now the lowest cell. Um, is lagging behind by a good bit. I just recently had a pack that again had one cell lag behind, balanced it, got everything tight again, went to discharge it. It was discharging fine. It seemed pretty tight until we got about 2,500 or 3,000 milliamp hours into the discharge, or basically halfway into the discharge, and you really started to see the cells drift. And then by the time it got to a little over 4,000, not the cell that lagged behind on charging, but a totally different cell dropped like a rock. And I ended up only getting 4,300 out of a 5 amp hour pack. And then here it is, I have 8 others that I've tested that I'm getting 5 amp hours on the dot or high as 5.3 amp hours. So when I have a cell that's performing at 4.3 amp hours, that's a huge. I can't swallow that. That's not like within like a 5% deal where it's like, all right, if the pack gives me around 5% of its total, within like a 5% margin of what it's supposed to be, I'll consider it a good pack. That's not the case. That's a bad pack. And so if you look at the voltage that you receive the packs and think that the pack is balanced and you go to put it into use, it just is going to end in a failure, especially the people that are running 1P and are expecting, like, I wouldn't say full capacity, but they run their packs pretty hard, or they run close to full capacity. You just not going to receive the full capacity. So if I had a 5 amp hour pack that was giving me 4.3, just think if you had a 20 amp hour pack, how much capacity could be missing. Even though the voltages look alright when you receive it, you could be missing a lot of capacity, and by you not checking these batteries, you're setting yourself up for failure down the road, and then you're going to blame Hobby King or whatever. Hobby King will replace the batteries if you catch it, let them know. They'll give you a refund or replace the battery. But I see people buying all of these large ass batteries, or assembling these large RC LiPo batteries. They're not checking the batteries. I know they're not checking the batteries. How can you um, how can you order 15, 20 amp hour batteries, um, 20 amp hour batteries, and order 10, 15, 20 batteries, and then so you post a picture of your bounty, and the next day you're already riding on 'em. There's no freaking way that you tested those batteries, you know. And like I said, at the very least, I even test mine periodically. I test them, certify them, they give full capacity, and then I pull them out every 3 or 4 months and retest them again and track to see if there's any capacity loss or whatever. And I just happen to carry an oversized battery to where I'm not reaching all the way into it. I got a 66 volt 32 amp hour battery. The most I've ever pulled out of it is maybe 15 amp hours. I choose to carry that large battery to keep the C rating low on the pack so they last longer, yada yada yada. But either way, I checked my batteries. I trust it to give me capacity because I initially check it, and then I continuously check it during the life of the pack just to make sure, I don't have high expectations, and look out for, damaged cell or a low cell. Even when I'm charging, even if I have a bulk charger, I check with a cell log and look at the cell voltages, and I check it before and after I put it on the charger and during, just to make sure there's no cells that are straying and all of that. So, I got my friend just he bought, was it 12? He bought 12 6S 20 amp hour batteries, and he's going to run 100 volts, 60 amp hours on his motorcycle conversion. And I'm like, damn, but even if he's listening to this, truly, I would test those batteries. It's going to take you a while. I've spent a week in my spare time testing testing the batteries for my pack. So so if you're putting all of this money towards buying the batteries, I think you should also put money towards getting a good charger. At the very minimum, get a iCharger 306B or the Turnigy Mega 1000 watts. Because I've had the 306B and I've done hours of discharging at 80 watts on the 306B, and then turn around and you can get 30 amps of charging power out of it. So um, that's a good base level charger, especially if you have these high size pack. Don't get these quad chargers or some high tech X4 or some gay ass 4 port charger that charges at 50 watts a channel, all of that. No, I mean, if you're putting this money in the batteries, you need to go ahead and put the money in a good charger. And like I said, I use the 406 Duo, and like I said, I have my discharge resistor bank and my discharge lead acid bank. So I can test these. This is a part of my business. I do test batteries as part of my business, but even for my personal use, I still, would get the tools and test these batteries because Hobby King, you know, they're doing the same thing. If they do check it, they're spot checking, and if it's in a certain range, they ship it out. They're not doing a discharge test or anything before they ship it out to you. No telling how long it's been sitting on the shelf. Some of these packs now have dates on them where they were originally checked, and who's to say they did or didn't check the pack again whenever they pack their order. But either way, what appears to be true isn't true. So, like I said, what appears to be a tight pack when you take it out of the box, it isn't a tight pack. As soon as you go to charge it, you're going to see some ugliness, and you got to have a charger that can correct that in a timely manner. Not an AccuCell 6, not a IMAX B6 or any sorry ass charger like that. You got to have a big boy charger, otherwise it's going to take hours to balance that pack. Because some of these chargers have 50 to 100 milliamps of balancing current. So what that equates to is if you have a pack that's 500 milliamps out of balance, it's going to take about 5 hours to balance it on a cheap ass charger. Getting a 406, you can drastically reduce that to about 30 minutes, 30 minutes. So it's necessary to have a good charger. And like I said, you know, checking the cells, they may be tight. You go to charge them, you realize it's not good. You balance them, and you finally get it into balance. Don't go ahead and mark that cell as the bad cell in the pack. That could be your highest performing cell. So don't take your charge data and say, all right, cell number one, that lag behind, so that's going to be the weak cell. That's going to be the cell that has the self-discharge or whatever. That's not the case. You go to discharge the pack, it could be a totally different cell in the pack that's underperforming. So keep that in mind. And so, as long as you have a charger that can charge, balance aggressively, and discharge, you should be golden. And I would take the time, get your Sharpie out, and write down a capacity on every pack. You can even go as a little bit more fancy. I have a label maker, and I let's see. I'm not sure if you can see this. Yeah, you can't see it. So I wrote 6S was the weakest cell. It gave me 5223. Um, it gave me that capacity, so I have this on the pack. So, I've already tested this pack. I know how much capacity it gives me. So when I come back to it again, this will be my reference on how much this pack had. And when I check it again in 2 to 3 months or whatever, I can see what the capacity loss is over time, or whatever, or see if anything's changed. But every time I charge and discharge the battery, I go ahead and get the label maker out, or make some type of label, or write it on the pack with a Sharpie to let me know what the capacity is on that pack. So you have to do these things. Don't buy up these packs. create these huge batteries. And then also, you have these BMSs, and of course we know all these BMSs aren't created equal. So some of these BMSs have shitty balancing current that are worse than the chargers. So you have a pack that's so far out of balance, that BMS is not going to correct it. You're probably just going to have to go in there and probe each cell and charge each cell group up individually, or balance it on an appropriate charger before you put it on the BMS. And after that, the BMS might be able to, you know, keep it balanced. But again, only build a pack with known good cells. They have to give capacity. If it says it's a 20 amp hour cell, it has to give you 20 amp hours or more. And if it's marginal, check it again. If it increases, if you like, sometimes if you exercise the pack and the capacity increases, then you're more likely to have an okay pack. But if it just sits there, and the capacity doesn't improve, even if you cycle it 2 or 3 times, you could still use it, but keep an eye on it, especially if it's really, really close to the capacity mark. Um, but like I said, all cells aren't created. You can even get serial numbers back to back and think you have a good batch. Check 1 or 2 of them, and the rest of them are going to be all right. No, no, don't do that, because you'll be the first one to parallel your packs together at the pack level and the cell level. Then a month or so down the road, you leave the bike parked in the garage, and you had a self-discharging cell that you didn't catch, and you have a whole cell group that's ruined. So you have a 6S pack that has like 0 volts or 1.2 volts, and the charger's really not pulling it up, and if it does pull it up, it drops right back down. And it's real. Like I said, it's really frustrating, like I said, to see you guys out here buying all these batteries, but I'm not seeing. I'm proud to show off that, hey, I check my batteries or whatever, and that I have a solid pack that I can go to. But on the other hand, I see people like, oh, woe with me. I have a friend that it breaks my heart that his pack is so hodgepodge. He has like 3 to 5 years worth of lipo at various states or whatever, and then it goes out, and when one cell group fails or one pack group fails, he goes and buys and replaces that pack group. And I'm like, you don't have to ride this way, you don't have to be this way. And I remember I tested his batteries once, and I was like looking at the spread of cells, and he had pretty much had 5 amp hour cells of various. He had Turnigy batteries, he had Zippy batteries, he had 4S hard case batteries, and all of these are mixed up and everything. And I was seeing cells as low as 4.3 amp hours in a 5 amp hour pack. And he just recently had some batteries puff up and swell on. I'm pretty sure he over discharged them, and it was a weak pack group that he over discharged. I'm like, we need to have a clean slate, even batteries, like on TV remotes. Don't mix old and new batteries. You just don't mix old and new lipo, or good and bad lipo together. You just check your batteries, and not just spot checking them with the cell. Always check your fucking batteries, cause I don't want to hear the sob stories. But anyway, that's my public service announcement. I'm out.